The cross we carry. Each of us carries our own cross, but do we truly understand what it weighs? In a small town where the streets smelled of fresh bread and blooming linden trees, there lived a woman named Helen. She was 43 years old, and if someone asked her about life, she would answer, "I carry my cross." She said it so often that the words became her mantra, her excuse, her shield against the world. Helen worked as a cleaner in a hospital. Every morning at 5, she woke up in a cold apartment on the outskirts of town, where there was never enough money for heating. Her husband, Peter, had left 5 years ago. Not died, just packed his things and disappeared, leaving her with 2 children and a mountain of debt. Her older son, Michael, was studying in college, constantly needing money for books, transport, and food. Her younger daughter, Sophie, had asthma, and her medication cost nearly half of Helen's salary. "This is my cross," Helen would say to her neighbor when asked how she was doing. "What can you do? We all have to carry our cross," she would sigh to her co-workers. "Everyone has their own cross," she repeated whenever she saw someone happy, with a bitter note in her voice. Helen had turned her life into an endless procession of suffering. She wore her pain like a medal, displaying it at every opportunity. Her cross had become her identity. She could no longer imagine herself without it. One rainy November evening, as Helen was returning from another exhausting shift, soaked and drained, she wandered into a small church on the corner of the street. It was warm and quiet inside. She sat on a bench in the last row, letting tears roll down her cheeks. "I can't do this anymore," she whispered into the emptiness. Nearby stood an elderly priest with kind eyes that held the kind of understanding that comes only through personal pain. He spoke softly. "Put it down." "Put it down?" Helen didn't understand. "But it's my cross. I have to carry it." The priest smiled and sat beside her. "Let me tell you a story. Once, there lived a woman very much like you. She carried a heavy cross too. Loneliness, poverty, sick children. One day, she came to a wise man and begged him, 'Give me a different cross. This one is too heavy.' The wise man led her into a large room filled with crosses of all shapes and sizes. "Choose any you like," he said. The woman began trying them on. One was short but so wide it wouldn't fit through a doorway. Another was thin but had sharp edges that cut into her shoulders. A third looked light, but when she lifted it, it was deceptively heavy, as if made of lead. A fourth was covered in splinters that pierced her skin. She spent hours trying dozens of crosses. Finally, in a far corner, she found one. Not perfect, but familiar, comfortable in its discomfort. She lifted it with relief. "I'll take this one." The wise man smiled. "That is the same cross you came in with." Helen sat in silence, absorbing the story. "You see," the priest continued, "the point is not to get rid of your cross. The point is how you carry it. Your cross is not a punishment, it's your life, your circumstances, your path. But you have turned it into a prison." "I don't understand," Helen whispered. "What else can I do? I work, I take care of my children, I try to survive." "When was the last time you smiled?" The question struck her like a slap. When had she last hugged her children just because? When had she felt grateful for what she had? When had she seen beauty in the rain instead of just a problem? Helen said nothing. "To carry your cross," the priest said quietly, "means to accept life with all its hardships and still not lose the ability to love, to hope, to feel joy. It means finding meaning even in the darkest days." He stood up, ready to leave, but added, "Do you know what's heaviest about your cross? Not poverty, not loneliness, not even your child's illness. The heaviest part is your belief that you are a victim." That night, Helen couldn't sleep. She remembered all the times she complained, pushed people away, denied herself any joy. She thought of Michael bringing home an award she barely noticed, of Sophie asking her to play and her saying she was too tired, of her neighbor inviting her for coffee and her refusing. She cried, but these were different tears, not of self-pity, but of understanding. The next morning, she woke up before the alarm. She went to the window and saw the sunrise, pink, golden, alive. She made breakfast and for the first time in a long while, truly talked to her children. She listened, hugged them, laughed. At work, she began to see patients as people, not problems. She noticed their pain and realized her own was not the only one. She started noticing beauty in small things, a smile, a cup of coffee, sunlight on her face. Her life didn't become easier, the money didn't increase, the illness didn't disappear, but something changed. She stopped dragging her cross and began carrying it. Time passed. She learned to be grateful even when things were hard, to accept help, to stop comparing herself to others, to keep moving forward, one small step at a time. And most importantly, she stopped being a victim. One day, she returned to that same church. "Thank you," she said. "For what?" the priest asked. "For showing me the difference between dragging and carrying." "And how is it?" "It's still hard, but now I grow under its weight instead of breaking." The priest nodded. That is what true strength looks like. Moral: carrying your cross is not about suffering, it's about choice. We cannot always choose our circumstances, but we can always choose who we are within them, a victim or a person who grows. Because the cross is not a burden that breaks you, it is a weight that shapes you.